Welcome, everyone.
What's up?
Episode number 7.
Is it 7 already, sir?
Yeah, 7 already.
Okay.
And just a couple things that we changed here. We finally got you a working chair.
Thank you.
And we changed up the angles a little bit with the camera because I know a lot of people are saying that microphone was way too close to your face or was blocking your face.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have a beautiful face, so I don't want to block it.
Yeah, exactly. So now we get to see it and up close and personal.
That's right.
You know, the way it should be.
Right.
So let's get right into it.
All right. Well, today we are going to talk about Galatians 5:22 through 24. But the Holy Spirit produces this kind of fruit in our lives: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. There is no law against these things. Those who belong to Christ Jesus have nailed the passions and desires of their sinful nature to his cross and crucified him there. So, you know, this verse kind of came up to me when I was doing some seminary homework, actually. And it's so interesting because, you know, I'm not a numerologist kind of by nature, but, you know, there are certain numbers in the Bible that come up on repeat and kind of have significant meaning. And interesting, so there's 9 things here. And apparently 9 has 2 meanings. First off, it means judgment, but it also, interestingly enough, means visitation, which is a really odd word. And visitation just means like God shows up or manifests in a tangible way in your life.
Okay.
But if you look, there's 9 fruits of the Spirit. There's 9 spiritual giftings in 1 Corinthians. There's 9 beatitudes. And so it's interesting that this kind of shows up. So, you know, I think, so for me, so big question we'll get back to is, what do I do if I'm saved, but I don't see all these fruits in my life? And is there a way to develop them like the gifts of the Spirit, or is it like the gifts of the Spirit, we either have them or do not? So Paul basically, so if you read the Greek here, Paul basically is like, hey, when you get the Holy Spirit, you get this, and it's called it's called a vice and virtue list. So in the verse immediately before this, Paul says, hey, but the way of the flesh is drunkenness, sexual immorality, gossiping, all these things. And he does this several times. But if you read this, the way it's written, Paul's kind of like, okay, well, the fruit of the Spirit is this, this, and this, and then you just kind of get it all at once. There's kind of no talk about how do you develop it? Like, what do you do? Which is super interesting for someone who is talking to, you know, predominantly a Gentile audience who doesn't really have an Old Testament backing. So there's not really any, you know, there's no background for them as to, you know, what's going on. But it's interesting because Paul wants you to be, he's equipping the Galatians to say, hey, this is how you tell if someone not is saved, but this is how you tell if what is going on in a person's life spiritually is from Christ or if it is from something else. Because, you know, we're very specifically called not to judge, right? But that really extends to just whether someone is saved or not. You can 100% judge someone's fruit. And in fact, you're supposed to. That's wise. So, but it's interesting that Paul gives this list and then kind of just nothing else, right? So, for example, the love that he lists, so the order, they don't think there's any in particular importance to the order, except the first one is love. And the word, you know, so there's a couple Greek words that we translate into English as love. And the one used there is agape, which is kind of expressing the wide and deep benevolent love that God has for us. That's what agape means. Okay. So there's other words. There's eros, which is erotic love. There's philia, which is brotherly love. There's storge, which is familial love. But this is agape. And, you know, kind of the other words, I mean, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, good. I mean, it's a laundry list, and there's nothing per se sticks out except for the fact that Paul gives this list, and then again, I would just go back to this, and then just there's nothing else. He doesn't give any other. He just says, "Hey, by the way," and he uses the phraseology is, "There is no law against these things," meaning you can't get these by your own personal effort. The law, following observance of the law, does not give you these things.
And when he means the law, like the Old
Testament law. Yeah. So, which makes sense because if you think of someone who's legalistic, they're usually very unhappy people. All the legalistic people I know are usually pretty miserable. So, or worse, they're fake. They're fake happy.
Yeah.
Which, in my opinion, is even worse than being authentically miserable.
Yeah.
But so it's interesting that Paul kind of gives this list, but I think there's two layers to it. One, it's a list for us as believers to say, here's how here's kind of here are the symptoms that I expect, right, from someone who's saved. But also, there's kind of a implication that for the Holy Spirit to become upon you and be a part of your life, this is the result. It's almost like there is this visitation judgment thing. Like, once the Holy Spirit is upon you, visitation, the judgment that comes out is that you're judged right and you're judged good, and that you start producing these traits, I guess, is what I'll say. So I guess I'll go back to the question is, do you see all of these things in your life? If you're being honest.
Yeah, probably not. And I think you have to be honest, and I think like every Christian, they should be honest about it.
Right.
And if we're going to be 100% frank about this, like if you had all of those, would you be considered perfect at that point?
I don't know, because so like if I think of myself, right, like, I mean, the one that I struggle with, I would just tell you right now, is patience. I have zero patience. I paid for patience. I made the mistake once of paying for patience in 2005, and I am still feeling those ramifications 20 years later. God still gives me things that test my patience and develop my patience.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm just candid. I tend to not what they call suffer fools very well. So I
don't have patience for idiots.
I really don't. I'm sorry. I know that's really snobbish of me to say, but I don't. I will literally use the line at work. I don't know what it's from, but I'll literally use the line like, I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you, which is not Jesus of me, but is honest.
Yeah, I guess in that context, it's a little bit different, especially in a work environment.
Yes.
But I guess it depends on your tone, how you're speaking to the person. Are you like talking down at them and yelling at them?
Usually I type it, then erase it, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
Because it's not really something I want to,
Okay.
Not something that I really want to emulate to my subordinates at work.
Yeah, I would say one that points out to me is like the self-control aspect. Like for me, sometimes I will overeat, especially when it comes to like sweets.
Oh yeah.
You're eyeing them, you see like that cake and you're like, should I buy it? Should I not buy it? Yeah, bad decision, poor decision making in that aspect. And that one's the last one if I'm reading this here. I feel like that could be the most difficult in a lot of ways.
It's interesting. So like the words he uses there are pretty standard words. Like they do a pretty good 1-for-1 translation. The only thing it's interesting is faithfulness. So the actual Greek word there used is faith, not faithful. Like there's not really a good Greek equivalent for faithfulness. So one of the things he says is like, hey, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faith. So almost like having faith is part of having like relationship with Jesus is that you get more faith. And I tend to view it in what people will call like the maturation of your faith. So you start off, I mean, if I rewind back to when I'm first saved, I have almost none of these, if I'm being honest with you. But do I have joy? Yes, I have gone through things. I have walked through things in my life where even though my peace has been robbed of me, I still have my joy. Or when my joy is robbed of me, I still have peace.
Yeah.
Right? So some of these things, as you walk through, God definitely does grant them to you, and they are gifts.
Yeah.
In a sense. Like that is not naturally upon me to be a joyous person all the time. Especially early in the morning. But in general, I am not a joyous person.
Yeah.
And in fact, joyous people make me want to scream, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, like your morning people.
Honestly, just there are some people, and it's, again, I don't want to mock it, but like there are some people that are just like, they're just happy all the time.
Yeah.
I just want to throw punches. I'll be honest with you. I just that's just not me.
Yeah.
I think it's being a CPA. I think being a CPA just makes you kind of naturally pessimistic, because you see that the crap people kind of pull on you to try and not pay taxes. But
true.
But there are some things. Again, I mean, like if I'm looking at this, right, like goodness is an interesting one, because even when I do something that necessarily is wrong, I don't think of myself as not good. And that's kind of a humbling thing, is like, okay, like what makes you good, right?
Yeah, that's a good question. I always thought that was kind of like subjective, like where one culture might view something as good, the other culture doesn't view it as good.
Yes.
One person views something as good, the other person doesn't view it as good. It's kind of like morals. You know, some people, they're like, somebody told me, it was like, I don't need God to tell me what morals are. So it's like, oh, so you just come up with them?
You just happen to know.
Yeah, you just happen to know. Like,
yes.
These weren't bestowed upon you. You just have this moral intuition of what's right and wrong.
Yeah.
Or you do what society tells you to do.
And the problem is when you do that, you put yourself into what we call the judgment seat. And now you're, by default, making all the judgments. And I'm a fairly bad judge. If I sit and do it all day, I get progressively worse at making judgments.
Yeah.
So I try not to do it.
Yeah, no, it's just that is interesting aspect. And I know the question would be brought up about like when you first become a believer, how do you work towards obtaining all of these? Like, what is the progression? And it's like you said, Paul didn't give us this line, so it's like the mystery of how to obtain it. And I think it's, becoming a Christian or being a Christian, it was never easy. It's never meant to be easy.
No.
Sure. Like the first Christians were martyred. I mean, for hundreds of years they were, St. Lorenzo was burned alive and he screamed out, turn the other side. I'm cooked on this side. Turn me over. Some of them were skinned, just terrible thing, fed to the lions, all kinds of things.
Peter was crucified upside down.
Yeah, exactly. And so it wasn't meant to be easy, but it's just a hard progression to get there. And I think, some of the most important aspects is like prayer, daily devotion. I think it starts from there, and then it goes, because say, like, for example, you're dealing with a hard situation in your life, and whatever it may be, you're going through a divorce, you no longer have a job, you're unemployed, anything of that sort. And a lot of people that say don't have Christ in their life, they'll go to those vices, they'll go to the alcohol, they'll go to the drugs, they'll do nefarious things, whatever it may be. And as Christians, our first instinct is to go to prayer, seek counsel from fellow Christians,
Yep.
or wiser folks than us, preachers, priests or preachers, and to really set devotion to him at the end of the day. And I think, obviously that's a practice in itself. That's like you have to work at it.
Mm-hmm. No, and I think too, that's where it's very easy for us in our modern context we're more so than the people Paul is writing to. we're comfort creatures. Mm-hmm. So we will do almost anything to know. I mean, just think of something. I mean, I don't think this is very controversial to say, but like, think of, like manufacturing, right? How many times will people tell you, oh, your iPhone, right? The iPhones that we have on this table, they are made by people who in many aspects have forced labor conditions. Mm-hmm. But I'm not crying over it.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I'm not. I'm grieved by it, but I'm not out, I'm not becoming an abolitionist for it. Like, the chattel slavery of the 19th century of America. Yeah. Right. So I think that's, part of the thing is Jesus does not look the other way at suffering and injustice. He does not look the other way at sin. He may look at us with rose-colored glasses because, we're saved, but that doesn't mean he's not over here going, excuse me, you're unintentionally or intentionally doing something to make your brothers and sisters suffer. Mm-hmm. And I think as Christians, we're not grieved by those things enough. Mm. We're not sufficiently grieved enough that it causes us to move, because here's the thing. The people in Paul's time, the Roman Empire, you didn't like you had a vote, right? I mean, the Roman Empire had a Senate, but those people were appointed effectively by virtue of their family background. What would Paul say to me? What would Paul say to us if he said, wait, you have a modern Roman Empire and you get a say in it? As a believer, what are you not doing? And I'm curious that Paul would be grieved and would probably reprimand us for saying, you have the ability to go help your brothers and sisters in other places that I didn't know existed when I wrote.
Yeah.
And you're sitting here doing nothing. Mm. You're sitting here comfortable, warm, safe, complaining about snow.
Yeah.
That's what you're complaining about, really? So I think there's a lot of self-reflecting, there's a lot of humility, and there is sin in that.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. We're not, with great power and with great wealth comes, obligation, I think.
Yeah.
And you can say I live in the US and, I'm poor, but statistically speaking, if you're on welfare in this country, you're in the global top 5%.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so strong. Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry if that's inconvenient.
Yeah, but, it's like comfort made us weak in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. I know as like technology advances and it becomes easier in a lot of different ways. I mean, we have AI coming in, and in one of my university classes that I'm taking, mm-hmm. it doubles its IQ every 5.5 months, from what I learned.
Just wild.
Yeah. It is exceeding anything human intellect that we could possibly understand, and it's just constantly learning and learning and learning. Mm-hmm. They're saying it's getting to the point of where they're going to start communicating with each other, where the different AI agents are going to start where it's very, very
that'll be
dystopian.
A problem.
Yeah,
that'll be a problem.
Yeah,
sure.
It is very scary. But again, with our modern society, it's like if you're not using like the AI tool, which has made everything so easier, you're just going to fall behind. Mm-hmm. And I've noticed myself like slipping up where it's like, hey, just ask ChatGPT. You don't even like find out for yourself, or, like back then they used to have like maps and all that. You're just like, mm-hmm. go and find it out. Comfort.
Oh, I already see it at work. I will ask, we'll be doing, a tax return, and people will come, there'll be some technical complication, and I'll say out to the associates, hey, go ahead and research it, and they'll come back with this great answer, and I'll be like, where'd you get this? They're like, oh, I asked Copilot, and I'm like, okay, like, did you at least look at the source data? And they're like, well, no, why would I do that? And I'm like, because what if it's wrong?
Yeah.
What if someone's fed it incorrect information?
Yeah, because it can be wrong, and there is a
100%,
disclaimer.
100% it can be wrong.
Yep.
So it's weird, but we've already seen people, try and use chat. There was a guy who got in trouble for trying to use an AI lawyer in court, and the judge is like, are you new? Like, this is not okay.
Yeah.
There are people who, I can't remember, what case was it? There was a guy who was murdered, and the family, like the one sibling, I think, or daughter, someone in the family, created this AI video of him, and like the judge allowed it in court as like witness testimony of some such in Arizona. And
okay,
that's a huge no-no in my mind. Like, it's completely unacceptable. I mean, and I don't. Here's the thing: I don't want to, going back to compassion, right? I don't want to mock someone in their grieving, but if someone did that to my likeness after I died, I would consider that I would haunt you. If you did that to my likeness, to me, that's very disrespectful. Yeah, personally. Yeah, but I'm a little old fashioned sometimes.
Yeah. I guess it's like the context is different. I mean, if it was used to like go through his life, I know like they use AI to go through like historical figures, like when they first started, and a kind of transitional period, which is really cool. I mean, and information, learning about different things, history, whatever it may be. That's really cool. But if it's used in a distasteful manner, then
I'm curious if that gets held up upon appeal personally, because I'm not sure how you could rightly say, the AI is smart enough to be predictive enough to tell you what this guy would have thought.
Yeah. Oh man, did you see a church actually use that?
For Charlie Kirk,
I
literally wanted to throw up.
That was extremely distasteful.
Completely inappropriate.
Yeah. I don't know what they were thinking. Like that, yeah. Like they literally, like, were just speaking about this, and they literally did that with Charlie Kirk when he's like, "I'm with the Lord," and don't, it's.
Oh Lord. And that's something that, I will frequently tell people, when you do things like that, you make it Jesus and the gospel is not Jesus and, it is just Jesus. And that's a real problem, because while Charlie Kirk being assassinated is very sad, Charlie Kirk is not Jesus. Yeah. He is not, I mean, he was shot for political reasons, which are again sad, but that is, again, to me, that is not appropriate to take his likeness and put words in his mouth that he may or may not want to say. Yeah.
And then blast it on a screen, or in his voice and at a church, and I don't know, but it's just crazy.
You might as well pull a snake out of a bag, my friend.
Yeah. That church should really do some reflection. The leaders there. Don't know the name of them, but
I hope they do sincerely, because that's just not.
Yeah. Well, it went all over the internet.
Yeah, if I like went to Elevation Sunday morning, I would probably scream in the middle of video control if that happened, which would never happen. But
they wouldn't let that. They have enough knowledge to not to do that, like a good judgment,
right? Yeah. But no, I think it presents a question, because what is, as a believer, what you put into yourself, right? The movie, for example, I'm a big fan of horror movies, love horror movies, but as I've kind of gone on in my walk, I find that I can't watch them anymore. Because they invite things into my environment that I know are not good to be there. Yeah. And I think that's something as believers, there's a very sincere conversation that has to happen with AI, because it's, you cannot control when you speak to, I even like with like Alexas, right? I don't even have like Hey Siri does not work on my iPhone. If I get rid of my phone, I would do it, and I would go back to like a rotary dial phone.
I thought you were going to go flip phone, but you're going even before that.
I don't even want it to follow me around.
Okay.
For as useful as cell phones are, it's someone is listening, someone is watching. And that data is taken and that data is used. And the problem is when you interact with AI, you have no way of filtering its response back to you.
That's true.
Because if you press certain AIs long enough, they'll tell you to kill yourself.
I've heard about that.
100% they will.
Yeah.
Because they're only the sum of what we have programmed to be. And if you haven't noticed, humans are a flaming dump truck fire of a mess.
Yeah.
If you've not noticed.
No.
So that's why I think as believers, you have to kind of, it's fine to have those things, but you really have to guard everything that happens, even social media, right? We're posting this, but you have to very easily, you can snap a finger and you can be watching all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. And it really down the rabbit hole. It's stuff. And I know you talked about the movies, and for me, it was the music. I've noticed myself, like, I used to be really big. I still enjoy, but like metal music, but there's a lot of it that's not so good. And I've noticed that like some bands really like to play on the dark satanic image, and I've noticed that like it's starting to turn against them, because that's no longer like popular, because now I've noticed there's been like a big revolution, because it's been like kind of the counterculture to become a Christian at this point, because of we see how the enemy is working in the world. And so now there's one band I can think of that is like still trying to push this like edgy satanic bullshit. Oh, sorry.
Whoa,
sorry.
Sir.
But that got me a little amped up, but excuse my French.
Speaking of metal bands,
but they're trying to still push this. They've been around for a while.
Is it Ghost?
No. It's a band called Behemoth.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, they're
what a great name, by the way, for a metal band.
Yeah, no, right, of course. But they have a song. I'm not gonna even say the name of the song, but they had their latest album, and all of the comments, it was something where they're trying to like, edgelord, piss off people, Christians, and then all of their comments were just like, Christ is Lord, just over and over again. And it just shows you that like what you did 20 years ago with your inverted crosses, your crosses of St. Peter.
Yes, totally.
Your pentagrams, all of your nonsense. It's just not working anymore. Like it's just.
To your point, someone said punk is dead, but I think Christians have become the new punks.
In a lot of ways, yeah.
In a lot of ways, but no, and I have this at work too, right? I mean, like, not that I am against drinking, but like I don't participate in my firm happy hours anymore, and like that's weird.
Yeah,
it's weird that I don't want to go out, and I sit now at the table with like the pregnant ladies,
yeah,
and have Shirley Temples or ginger ales, and that's weird.
Yeah,
that's not normal.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. I admit probably people can rag me for it, but like there was a song or two by by Ghost that like they're kind of like if Metallica met ABBA and was Swedish, but he does that whole Papa Emeritus, and it's just like it's funny once, like it's edgy once, now it's not edgy anymore.
Now you're just cringy.
Yeah, it's cringe inducing. And it also shows to me that shows a lack of creativity. Like if you have to just edgelord for your content, it really, to me, it would question what are you doing? And I would backtrack a little bit. I think he's a talented songwriter. He just doesn't use his talents in a way that I think are beneficial or are truly creative. Like he's just doing it just for the vibes.
I think it's their shtick is kind of old, and along with a lot of other because they're not evolving what they did 20 years ago. Right. They think that it's the same kind of market, and you're just going to die out, and no one's going to care about you.
Right.
That's exactly.
But I think that's it's when you evolving struck this in my brain. But that's kind of the thing is Paul talks about, you work out your salvation. And that's the thing about being a Christian is you're constantly striving and constantly growing and changing. God is the only one who can do something new and still stay the same. Yeah. His character is unchanging, but he can do new things. Yeah. And I think that's the problem with worldly things. It's never new. It's just what have we not done recently, right? I mean, look at clothing fashions. I see the youth wearing the same pants I wore as a goth in middle school. Yeah. If I had I don't know if I'd fit in them still, but I could have saved my pants from American Eagle 1999 and they'd be back in style again. True. And it just shows you that it's just really we're just recycling, Recycling, yeah. That's the thing is the enemy can't create, he can only take and distort what God has done.
That's so true. I mean, you see it with our present day entertainment industry. I feel like most movies, most music, what they consider pop music and movies that Hollywood produces are just what are we doing? Where is the artistic approach? Where this is just this is trash. This is slop. Mm-hmm. And we see that with pop music. I mean, it's what they call these industry plants, and it's where do these people even come from? Right. They get thrown in. They're somehow selling records or deals.
I will say this to you while we're talking about it. It is crazy that we live in a timeline where the voice of reason is now Nicki Minaj. I would just like to make a comment. Nicki Minaj, I mean, she did a song with Tasha Cobbs Leonard a couple years ago, and Tasha Cobbs got dragged for it. It's a great song. I personally think it's a great song. But Nicki Minaj is now the Christian voice of reason, and that's a wild thing for me to say.
Yeah, it is.
And that's not disrespecting Nicki Minaj. It's just if I go from you go from Super Bass to Starships to I don't know when at the end she did Sir Mix-a-Lot, did she not? She not sample Sir Mix-a-Lot, I think. I admit I'm not a humongous modern hip hop fan. But going from that to being kind of the Christian voice of reason about things, it's just I don't know, man. It's just a wild timeline we live in, and I'm kind of wondering if we can go back to 2020 and jump back to the old timeline, because
we entered a weird portal, I guess, of some sorts.
Listen, God is good all the time. I'm here for it, but it's just but to your point, it's just wild that it is gotten to the point where even people in entertainment industry are what are we doing? Yeah. Why are we here?
but it's funny that this entertainment industry that we speak of, they kind of talk about the opposite.
Oh, for
fruits, the 9 fruits.
For sure.
They in society in general kind of persuade you not to be. Yeah. To obtain these 9 fruits. They want you to be the opposite. They want you to be a consumer. Yes. They want you to dive into the vices. I mean, how many times a day do we get blasted with betting, gambling ads? I mean, I get it on social media. I get it on watching Netflix now. I get it billboards all over the place. I mean, they're just hitting you with all these things. And I'm like, maybe we should not do this. Didn't we get rid of cigarette ads because cigarettes are bad for you? Right. Isn't gambling bad for you too? So maybe we should stop doing that.
I would argue gambling is actually the worst of those two personally, at least for cigarettes, you'd be calm because nicotine's a calming effect on you. But
and most of the time you're only hurting yourself. Whereas gambling, if I have a family,
I've already seen the articles where people are $800,000 in debt because they went and they were mortgaged the house, took out a personal loan, and and that usually was only reserved for Atlantic City and Vegas. Yeah, and I mean it's hard because as a as a first world Christian, I get the luxury of saying I can be civil libertarian about it.
Yeah.
But, I don't want to tell people what, there's certain, for a lot of things in life, I don't want to tell people what to do because I want life circumstances to be as available and open to God as possible.
Yeah.
And if it's going to take someone getting 800 grand in debt, but they come out of the other side saved, redeemed, that's awful that they had to get that much in debt to get there.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful that I did not have to. I'm grateful that God gave me the coverings for when I was doing things that weren't great. Right. Yeah. But is it better that they should do that, or is it better that we should keep them in this gray where they never really they just kind of go through life doing, on repeat, never thinking. I don't know. Just a thought experiment. I've just
maybe we should do the cigarette approach of it, like where, back then had ads for cigarettes.
Joe Camel.
Yeah, but like to the point where like their advertising is like null and void. Like maybe things that are harmful to society in general, maybe they shouldn't be give this advertising and marketing liberty like every other product.
Yeah,
putting that out there.
And I think that's the problem as believers is, where do I draw the line between I'm making a political statement and I'm making a statement rooted in the gospel?
Yeah.
Right. Because what you just said, while I may not personally disagree with it, where's your scriptural authority for that?
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe it's
where do I have the right to, where am I called to dictate? I definitely can call out.
Yeah. For
sure. But, there's a point to where you gotta, dust off your feet and move on.
Yeah. Maybe it's all in the data. If we look at the data,
maybe the AI will fix it for us.
Yeah. If I can analyze the data on what gambling does to a society, and then we could see, maybe we should put a little bit more regulation and restriction on it.
I will say this: all addiction is a misapplication of worship.
Yeah.
So
it's like idol worship.
Yes. Yeah. So I would say there, if you're busy worshiping Jesus, this is the thing about, Sunday. One of the practical things about volunteering at your church or attending church is you're not doing something else at the time.
True.
Practically speaking, I am there. I am engaging with my community of believers, and I'm not doing drugs. I'm not gambling. I'm not drinking. I'm not licentiously sleeping around. I'm doing those other things that I could be doing. Yeah. So there's for sure a practical aspect to what God calls us to do. But I think too, if I think about it as I'm, as you're talking and I'm thinking about it, it's so funny because what the world calls love is selfishness. You have to be very careful with, I'm going to self-care, because they're not that there's not a time and place for that.
Yeah.
But we tend to take things as society and run as humans, not society, but as humans, we tend to take things and then we tend to, when someone gives us an inch, we take a mile with it.
Yeah.
And at some point you can use, hashtag self-care can become, selfishness.
Yeah. Or I'm trying to find myself.
Correct.
Whatever that means.
Well, I still don't know.
What are you trying to? Yeah.
Right.
Like you have people that say that. What?
Right.
You shouldn't be trying to find yourself. You should be trying to find God.
Right. Because that's not peace.
Yeah.
If I want peace in my life, that's not, because I'm never going to find it. And I think that's the thing as believers. We very, if you're not in the word, if you're not praying, if you're not worshiping, if you're not doing those things, listen, you may think like the music on K-Love is obnoxious and repetitive, but that is probably better than listening to the trash that is on the radio. Okay. I get it. Like contemporary Christian music is kind of an eye roll sometimes. I get it. I really do. But if the choice is between that and the top 100, you should be listening to K-Love. You will do better, profit your soul better by doing that than you will listening to whatever garbage has come out on the radio.
Yeah. But it's funny enough, a lot of those genres you could find Christian.
For sure.
Yeah. Like speaking of metal, there's a lot of Christian metal bands out there.
Lest we not, Skillet did a great O Come Emmanuel this past Christmas.
Okay.
And people either loved it or just hated it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you should watch the video. It's great.
POD. Christian band.
R.I.P. POD. Are they still around?
Yeah, I think they were. They came to Charlotte like not too long ago. Yeah.
When I was a youngling, POD was the band.
This is a great, phenomenal band.
Yes, absolutely.
They're like beloved. Like
even
that
Switchfoot.
is a band.
Switchfoot. The guy is a lyrical genius.
Okay.
Love me some Switchfoot. Hello Hurricane, great album. Or like Adam Young, right? He's Owl City.
Oh yeah.
But he's a Christian.
Really? Okay.
Absolutely. And he does some hymn redos. And he did a great kind of remix of How Deep the Father's Love for Us.
Okay.
But he's Christian, and definitely there are things like, even like Lauren Daigle sometimes ventures into this where she's Christian, but she's not. It's not praise and worship all the time.
Yeah.
Which I quite like, which is why I like Switchfoot so much, because they're not praise and worship. They are just they're Christ inspired, I guess I'll call it.
Yeah. There was one metal band. I don't think they're Christian no longer. They went through some pretty bad controversy, but it was called As I Lay Dying. They were like in the early
Again, what a great name for a metal band.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
But they were Christian based. They were phenomenal. Back in like the mid 2000s, late 2000s. Unfortunately, the lead singer got himself into some controversy, ended up in prison for a little bit. That's when he fell out. The spirit came out of him.
Listen, sir. Listen. Platform does not promote you. It just exposes you.
Yeah. He started going more towards the flesh and less towards the spirit, let's just say, and landed him in prison.
R.I.P.
Yeah. He's out now, I believe. But yeah, you had a great thing going.
Mm-hmm. No, but I think there's a lot. I mean, because there's definitely like... And I think that's too, like you see that with like movies, like Angel Studios, putting out phenomenally better stuff than, I mean, not to disrespect Veggie Tales, okay, because Veggie Tales is great in its own right, I suppose, but growing up, like there was never if you said we're going to watch a Christian movie, I would have rolled my eyes and let it been algebra homework.
No, Angel Studios, man, don't get me started. How amazing some of their stuff. I saw a movie recently with my wife, right over here too. The movie that I Was a Stranger. It was about like the Syrian civil war in 2014.
Oh yeah, was that good?
It was insane. It was.
I wanted to see it.
Like I was like on the verge of tears. Like it's not a happy story. It's realistic.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, sir, when you said Syrian civil war, my default was not happy clappy.
Yeah,
right?
It was. It's a realistic, extremely realistic approach to war and what people on the ground go through. And it's just, it's like, I mean, if you have the opportunity to watch that, I know they've done The Chosen, and I got to say, The Chosen is amazing.
I still haven't seen it. Is it
very good? Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, like a lot of people, like they know like older Christian entertainment not so good, but then when you start watching that, you're like, wow, it's actually pretty good.
Right. I get nervous when people do Bible reenactment because you naturally would have to fill dialogue. Like it's not there. Well, not meant to be. And sometimes people fill it with dialogue that I would not want to fill it with.
Yeah.
Or they hint at things that I think there is
a bit of that, and there's a disclaimer in the beginning, like, hey guys, like in order for us to make a production out of this, we have to put some things in there.
Yeah.
So there is that, but I gotta say, like, all around, like, the message, like, it's just another tool to bring people to Christ at the end of the day, and it's extremely powerful.
Especially when we get, like, ethnically accurate Jesus, that's always great.
Yeah.
But I felt the same thing. I feel like, and I'll I don't know that I'd die in this hell. Maybe I'll die in this hell. But like the Shack, right? The Shack, a couple years ago, very, very controversial for the way, and the guy who wrote it, in fairness, he's a universal redemptionist in theology, so. Which is not as common, but it's the belief that, like, God loves everyone so much that at the end of Revelation, he'll just be like, JK, I love you all, come back. Which is not, that idea is from the Apocrypha of Peter, which is very non-canon. Probably not written by Peter, but that it's a persistent belief in some people that there is universal redemption, even if you don't ask for it. Which is a whole other thing to go into. But the point is that the Shack so they did a movie out of it, and I think it was Octavia Spencer played God the Father as appearing. It's a fantastic story of how you have to keep your eye on God. You have to go, it doesn't matter what I go through, God, you're still good. You still love me, and I'm going to keep marching towards you, because there's a line from it that says something to the effect of, like, sometimes when all you see is your pain, you lose sight of other things.
Yeah.
And, the story in and of itself, to me, is a beautiful story. But again, there was so much controversy over artistically portraying the Trinity that people got lost and was like, that's not my Jesus, that's not my God. And it's like, guys, are we this boring that, like, we can't have meaningful artistic representation of things? Also, Octavia Spencer is a great actress, so there's that too.
You also mentioned that about that really good song from Hillsong.
Oh, Hillsong, Young and Free. Yeah. Oh, great song. Peace.
Yeah.
And the video is just people just lost their everlasting minds over it.
Yeah.
And again, they were being artistic it was a little art house, right?
Yeah.
But people were like, oh, they started calling it, Hellsong, and it's satanic baptism. It's like, no,
Hellsong.
People, the worst thing about some Christians is they have no creativity.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, Hellsong is the least original thing you could have possibly called it. But it was, again, I thought it was a beautiful thing. It was a little artsy, but you got the messaging.
Like, go out, like, criticize them for the bad things they've done. Don't criticize them for that.
There's a lot of things to criticize Hellsong for. That is not one of them.
Yeah, come on.
Agreed. Yes.
So, but I know what you're saying, and you're saying, like, there was a lot of depiction of Revelations in it.
Yeah, it was, so basically the premise is, like, there's, like, at one point, so the song is about, if I'm remembering correctly, the girl who wrote it, because she suffered from, I think, anxiety and panic attacks.
Yeah.
And so, like, which is beautiful, really, because, like, she says, you're my Jehovah Shalom. Mm-hmm. Like, you are what brings me peace in the storm. And one of the images is you see her, there's these 7 people in veils, and they have crowns, and you see them, they pick them up and they throw them down, which is, a reference to, the elders laying down their crowns at the feet of Jesus. Mm-hmm. And at some point, she's dancing, like, in this kind of, like, white veil, and then, like, this red falls from the sky, and it's supposed to be her getting washed in the blood, right? And then she comes out and she's wearing red because now and again, people took it as, like, satanic, when it's like, no, like, it's very obviously a visual metaphor for how, you get, I mean, there's a hymn, right? Like, getting plunged, under, from a fountain of Jesus' blood. Like, like that's a thing that happened, and they're just visually portraying it. So again, I think just people made a bigger.
Shouldn't they have a little bit more patience towards it? Shouldn't they have a little bit more goodness?
They should.
Gentleness,
maybe some
self-control.
Maybe some self-control before we post a comment.
Maybe a little bit more joy and peace and love before attacking it.
Maybe. I think definitely self-control would be great, and it would stop a lot of keyboard warriors.
Oh yeah,
if before I open my mouth, if before I send the text, if before I hit enter on the comment, do I think, how is this going to be portrayed? And I feel like we would solve like 50% of the problems with the internet if people would just exercise in
person interactions. I mean, emotional self-control. I mean, road rage incidents, domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, domestic violence situations are the most dangerous for police officers. That's Agreed. The most dangerous, statistically speaking, because they could lose their life. In a bad environment, and that's all due to emotions. And
I would just say, side note, because I have a buddy back in Pittsburgh that was a cop. It is bananas to me that a couple can go from hitting each other to then on a dime turning and making a common enemy of a cop.
Yeah,
like to me that's nuts. But I guess there's a lot. Yeah, there's a psychology I don't understand, and I don't pretend to understand it. But like.
It's like we could hit each other, but you can't hit us.
Which I don't mean to laugh. That's not funny, but it's such an absurd logic. I don't understand. Like there's where we have our Wednesday night small group. There is a house. I'm telling you, those people, you remember, they scream. You can hear them sometimes. It's a younger dude and this woman, and they just off the top. And a part of me just wants to like lean over the fence and just be like, "Shut the hell up."
Yeah.
But I know from my buddy who was a cop that is not the way to go about it, because you will make a common enemy of them, and they will come after you.
Yeah, that's true. We have to have patience.
But I also wish they would stop, because I don't want to hear people scream.
Yeah. Well, they need to practice more love and joy.
I mean, I don't assume they're Christians. They may be. I don't know. But.
Yeah, well, they need to have a little bit more of the spirit and less of the flesh, if that's the case. Because you shouldn't be talking to each other.
No, absolutely not. I heard a great saying recently that said, who you pick as your partner is a bigger reflection on you than your partner. Like what you allow and what you tolerate in your relationship says more about you than it does your partner.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Because why do you allow someone to treat you that way if they're treating you badly? That must mean you don't think you're worthy of being treated well.
Yeah. That's very true. Wow, that's pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I think.
Allie treats you well, just for reference.
Yeah, she made me dinner.
She did.
Yeah,
it smelled very good. Yes,
should have had some. It was organic chicken.
Was it organic chicken?
Yes, it was
That's
organic.
Very nice.
It was very good.
But were the green beans organic?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna ask her after this.
I remember.
Don't lie, sir. Don't lie, sir.
At Harris Teeter, I remember picking them up.
The Teeter does make good. The Teeter does have good organic produce. Also.
Yeah, they do. Them and Publix. Have great organic.
I do love Publix.
They have great fruits.
No.
Fruits of the spirit. I'm kidding.
I'm told, by the way, side note, I am told by the ladies at church that run our volunteer place that Publix has the best fried chicken of supermarket fried chicken.
Yeah, they do.
Would you,
yes.
Yes, okay.
100%.
Okay.
It's outstanding.
Having never had it personally, no. I'm unable to, I don't know, but.
It's, and their pub subs too.
Really?
They beat Harris Teeter on both of those.
Interesting.
Yeah, they are excellent. Now, Harris Teeter sometimes has hot bars. Like the one over here has Asian hot bar. And it's quite good.
The one in Ballantyne, but Ballantyne campus has an Asian hot bar.
Yeah.
Looks like it smells pretty good.
Actual bars in that where you can watch
that one does too, and I will see people. It must be a marketing ploy because I'll see them then grocery shopping and like the woman is very clearly sloshed off of her 3 glasses of wine, and the dude is very clearly sloshed, but like their cart is full to the top.
Yeah. That's actually a great idea. Because your judgment becomes a lot poorer. And then you're like, yeah, I need this, I need that.
Oh, let me tell you, bro was throwing in boxes of Hot Pockets like he was in college. And his wife was just like, get meatballs. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to walk away from this.
The Whole Foods up in Cornelius has a bar in it too.
Okay.
So obviously the nickname for Whole Foods is Whole Paycheck. So so Jeff Bezos knows what he's doing.
I will say back in the day, where there was a Whole Foods in neighborhood of Pittsburgh called Shadyside, we would go there just for lunch. Their hot bar was really good.
Yeah.
I will say I'll give them that. So
and
they're super. For a grocery store sushi, they had decent sushi as well.
Harris Teeter's got great sushi as well.
No, they don't.
I like it. I think it's great.
We are divided by denominational differences, my brother.
Yeah, I don't know if they make it fresh. The guy's right there cutting it up and doing his thing.
My Harris Teeter, it's a lady, but.
Yeah, I think it's a guy. Yeah, it's a guy at this one. I don't know. I never had issues with their sushi.
Really? Yeah. Okay.
Maybe you got a California roll that you didn't like too much.
No, I can't eat California rolls because they're not gluten free. Yeah, the crab stick is not.
Oh, the imitation crab. Yeah, that's garbage, anyways. Well,
so. I just stick with usually anyway. But no, I think, kind of bringing it back, right? I think that there are so many places in my life that if I'm honest for how, before I start patting myself on the back for how mature and well-developed of a Christian I am, if I really am honest and like audit myself, I might have thrown hands on the drive over here.
Yeah.
Because someone was driving too slow for my taste in the lane. And that's not self-control. That's not love either.
Yeah. That's not joy.
No, it is not joy.
Yeah.
Although driving fast brings me joy, but I don't think that's the same joy.
It's not patience.
It's not definitely patience. But so I think it is, to exercise some humility and sit and go and say, okay, I would, this is the exercise I would do, write a piece of paper, write down all the fruits of the Spirit, and then ask yourself, where do I show this in my life? Where do I show this in my life? Mm-hmm. And if you're missing something, pray about it. Say, Holy Spirit, this was me with, suffering fools. I had to be like, God, like, I know you've called me to ministry, which means I'm going to have to suffer fools at some point.
Yeah.
God, help me help you, God, right? Like, help me fulfill this calling in my life. And, he did. And I'm certainly not cured of it, I would say, but, I have in me, which might surprise you, but I have a horrific elitist snob mentality in me. And that's one thing, like, if I must boast in Christ, like, that is one thing that the Holy Spirit has beaten out of me. But I still struggle with it sometimes, but I try not to have that as my personality. But I mean, that's fallen Justin is there.
I gotta say, some of the people that you've given, I would like to say, like, pastoral and training counseling, you must have had a lot of patience with them because I know we've discussed it, and I know some of these people are.
Well, yeah.
So I think you've come a long way if you're saying that I can't be around idiots or whatever it may be. I think that's God, like, kind of like,
yes,
testing you and also training you.
Yeah. And again, I say unironically, like, all glory really needs to go to God for that, because that is not me. It is not in me.
Yeah.
And I am born a poor aristocrat. It's just in my blood. But it's, and again, one of the things that you find as you walk out your calling is, there's the early days of the internet, you would see this picture go around, where it says, God will never give you any more than you can handle. That is such BS. I find that I do my best when I am forced to raise my hands and go, God, I don't know what to do with this. I'm going to turn it back to you. That is when I am most fruitful and when I see God at work most in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, yeah, say that to Job.
Yeah, 100%.
Say that to Job.
Yes.
So no, that's a good point. I would say like one thing is I used to be pretty quick to anger. I still can be at sometimes, but I've noticed like a lot more patience and peace when it comes to those things. Like a lot less like road rage incidents and how I talk to people. I noticed like even in a working environment, I would be quick to get very angry about something and I've noticed not to like take it personal anymore. Like it is what it is. Let them be kind of approach, and it's definitely worked out in a lot of different ways. Even looking on my phone, if you see something you're scrolling, doom scrolling, and you get pissed off on something political, let the facts come out. Let it work its thing. You can't change it. So it is, like if somebody did something else, you can't change it necessarily. Even though you want to, you can't. And sometimes it's up for them to figure it out themselves.
That must be hard having lived in New York, having anger issues. I can just imagine.
Well, everybody's angry up there.
That's true.
I was up there this weekend, and I can't stay there for too long because you
does it like bring it all back?
Because you could start to feel it because it's just how like everything is on edge. Everybody's on edge. I gotta get going. We gotta get on schedule. Like to where? You're rushing to nowhere. Like what are we doing here?
Right.
Like I understand being on schedule, but to where the point where it's like impeding on your joy, it's that's where it's just like it's not good. It's just not, and it's just a place that like I don't know. I maybe because I feel like it almost represents like the old me. Like I see like
100%.
If I could use the analogy of like the disciples, like when they left the Holy Land and they went on to their mission. That's how I view it as. It's like that's where I was from. But now I have a new beginning, and I feel, like more of the fruits of the Spirit being here than I ever did being up there.
I feel the same way about, I love Pittsburgh. I will always love my city, but, I would unless the Lord was like, hey, I'm going to send you an angel messenger, I could never move back there because I would spiritually die there. It is a place God has taken me from, and again, people I love there. I have a lot of family there. But for me in my house, that can't be.
Yeah.
Because I will it'll be like a dog returning to its vomit for me. And I value my relationship with God and where he has brought me more than I value my comfort of being back home. I mean, here is home for me now, but I value that more than I do picking back up and moving back to a place that is familiar and comfortable to me.
Yeah. No, I agree with you 100%. It's like every time I go, I feel like it's like parts of my old self will be brought back. Things that I forgot, things that I remember from high school, and then you're like, oh yeah.
It is like being an alcoholic and walking into a bar.
Yeah.
With free drinks.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, that's it's scary to think about that. So it's I'm 100% with you on that. So that's actually good wisdom. One thing before we wrap up, I want to ask some of our listeners and our audience members if they can comment in the chat which one of the 9 fruits of the Spirit do you need to work on the most? Do you need more of God's guidance and prayer? I think that is a really good way to start. And
I agree.
Yeah. So give us a comment And if you haven't done so, make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast.
Pretty please.
We have more episodes coming. Right now, our schedule was a little off because we had some quote-unquote natural disasters. Snowpocalypse here.
Sir, we got 10 inches of snow. That is a bona fide 4-alarm disaster for North Carolina.
Yeah, that is literally a natural disaster.
I am still eating soup that I bought. I am still eating it every day for lunch.
Even though there's not much snow outside anymore.
No, I don't want to waste the soup. Waste not, want not, sir.
True. So eat the soup. But yeah, we're going to be more active now, getting more episodes out. And the future looks really bright with this podcast. Eventually, we might have some people coming in, have some hosts.
Yes.
That's the goal.
Maybe Nicki Minaj will hear us and we can come interview her.
Yeah, it might cost a lot of money.
Spiritual journey.
Yeah, but who knows? That would be pretty cool if we could have Nicki Minaj. Maybe not here exactly. Oh. Maybe like in Mar-a-Lago.
No, I'm not going to Mar-a-Lago. Isn't she from Jamaica? Queens?
Yeah, she is.
I don't want to go to Jamaica, Queens.
I don't think she lives in Jamaica, Queens. If I had to guess, I don't think she lives in Jamaica, Queens.
She has the nicest house in Jamaica, Queens.
Yes,
that's for sure.
yes. Jamaica, Queens. So, but yeah, anyways, like, subscribe, and give us a comment, of course. Yes. And we'll see you in the next episode. All right. God bless.
God bless.